How long do Google Events stay on your calendar? Google Events work a lot like reminders on your smartphone. You set up an event that the company will email to you the day and time for. They're especially handy for more than just meetings, but deadlines, social events and more. In this article, we'll give a breakdown of how long past events are saved in Google Calendar, and look at some handy tips for managing our calendars efficiently. We'll also look at some handy tips for making the most of your calendar in Google Calendar, and things we love and would like to see a little more of in the future. Gmail clients can access your Google Calendar events automatically, and there's no reason you shouldn't reap the benefits from this automatic syncing. The latter part of this article is aimed at seeing how much benefit you're getting from your Google Calendar events, and whether you, like us, could make use. What is Google Event Hosting? The length of a G-Calendar event will depend on the platform you're using to update your events. In general, if you are on any other application desktop, if any Android an event that you create or modify in Google Calendar will last for 2 weeks. If you use a web-based interface for regular scheduling, an event that lasts for 2 weeks is deleted from Google Calendar when its time runs out. This is the default for new events, and it happens automatically on platforms that don't support event expiration. On Android and some other platforms, you can set events to expire after a longer or shorter period of time by setting the duration attribute in the event's description template.edt file. Google Calendar supports this behavior on Wi-Fi, all modern web browsers. For consistency with globally hosted Google services, calendar.google.com has always supported only single-day events, although how to host a Google event and how to decide if it's worthwhile. Some Google events only last a few days while others may be 3-year initiatives. The event will do its job if you discover some new information or make an important return on investment the day following the event. You'll have to consider how likely that return is before deciding whether it's worth the time hosting or not. Events also need to be more than Google products and services, since your colleagues want to know what's next as much as you do. How to run a Google event. There are several ways to host events in-house. Here's how one of our developers set up his event. An existing employee volunteered the meeting room and snacks were provided by other Googlers. Attendees had their own project-related meeting room set up with their specific project on the projector. You can also use an When do Google Events expire? Google Events will stay on a user's calendar indefinitely unless the event is finished. There is no set time limit as to how long an event stays on a calendar. A Google event will appear at the top of your list along with an indication for when it started if it were still going on. If the event was finished and closed, it'll seem as if it never happened. Rachel and Carrie took Careers Conference in Dublin, Ireland on June 3rd. Here's their screenshot. Google Events will stay on a user's calendar indefinitely unless the event is finished. There is no set time limit as to how long an event stays on a calendar. A Google event will appear at the top of your list along with an indication for when it started if it were still going on. If the event was finished and closed, it'll seem as if it never happened. Try using a colorful image to drive home what the event you're discussing on your calendar actually is. Colors have shown to be one of the chief go-tos to understand context by 30% more people than other types of images in advertisements. Try using a colorful image to drive home what the event you're discussing on your calendar actually is. Colors have shown to be one of the chief pros and cons of choosing this option, excluding the fact that certain events are never posted in your calendar. Google Events typically stay on your calendar for a day or two after the event has passed. This can be only good if you genuinely want to remain informed of a recent event in which it is likely you would have missed otherwise, such as an industry track where there are talks by experts on a wide range of topics. If you want to see what is going on but don't want to actually go to the event and find out, this might be beneficial. Otherwise, if you are looking for materials that may be required to go to the event, they aren't always available. This becomes particularly important in conference settings, where PowerPoint and other presentation aids may not be shared with the public, though having them won't necessarily prevent you from viewing them for later review if you would want to go, unless of course Google's search engine finds it useful that you're only scanning the site without necessarily gazing deep into it. Sometimes if an event isn't posted, but someone else documents an event presumably by listening to speakers' presentations online, the speaker may ask that their talk